So it seems that Tesla is finished, done, kaput, mit-garnished, at least if you look at mainstream media. Now, you will come across a few articles today explaining how Tesla is having major problems in China, citing a 36% drop in deliveries in January versus the previous month of December 2022. Only problem is it's complete horse manure. I'll explain. Now, the number is accurate. Tesla had 36% less deliveries in January compared to the previous month. They delivered 28,000 cars instead of 42,000 cars. That is true. Only problem is that the entire Chinese market delivered less cars. I don't know why I said less cars in January versus December. In fact, Tesla's market share went up from 6.5% of market share in December to 8% market share in January. So the fewer deliveries were relatively more in January than they were in December. In fact, it was a whole Chinese January thing. A holiday, the beginning of the year, etc., etc. So be careful when you read these headlines. It's usually some manipulative crap basically designed to take shots at Tesla. Tesla is actually increasing its market share in China month over month, so there's nothing to worry about. I just want to come out here and point it out before you read this nonsense. Now, I do want to talk about some crazy stuff going on right now in the market before we get to Michael Burry, and yes, he's back. He's back on Twitter, and he has a very interesting warning. I'm not just being cynical. You actually want to... I don't know why. What's going on with my conversationalism today? Can't talk. He actually has a very interesting warning. But before we get to Michael Burry and my speech incapabilityness, I don't know what's going on today. Let's have a chat about what just happened with Bed Bath & Beyond. My goodness. Now, I warned you from Bed Bath & Beyond. Apparently, the company secured some emergency funding so it would not go under. And that sent the stock price flying up 100%. Certain people bought it at the top at $5, $6. It went from 3 to 6. And within 24 hours, it was back down from 6 to 3. So everybody who bought at 5 and 6 because of FOMO actually got screwed very, very hard. Now, when you see a company that is absolute trash going up by 100% in 24 hours, you should not feel FOMO. You should feel great fear. It's a huge indicator about what the future of the market is. When this sort of thing happens, it's usually a red flag about where this market is heading to. Now, those of you who did do it, let it be a lesson to you not to get into FOMO transactions ever again. Those of you who are sitting on the sidelines trying to figure out what the hell is going on in this market, this is a huge warning sign about what's to come. Bed Bath & Beyond is a massive canary in the coal mine about the sickness in this market, so to speak. Now, beyond that, Jim Cramer just tweeted that he repeats, this is a bull market. Now, he sounds very adamant about it, which makes me feel one thing and one thing only. Salute. It's been a fun ride, everybody. Thank you so much. We're heading downstairs, and it's going to be very, very violent. If Jim Cramer says this is a bull market, buckle up. We're about to have some major, major insanity. Now, one more thing I want to talk about before Michael Burry. What's going on with Mrs. Biden? Did you see the video where she gave this weird kiss to Kamala Harris's husband? What the hell is going on? What is this? Whatever. I'm not going to get into it. Maybe it's some Democrat thing. I don't know. Maybe it's Canadian. I don't know. I'm just a Russian guy. To me, it just sounds weird, or seems weird, rather. Let's talk about Michael Burry. So Michael Burry is back on Twitter. Congratulations. I predicted this. I said he'll be back, and he's back better than ever. He actually tweeted out saying, this time it's different, and he posted this picture. Now, the picture basically correlates the S&P 500 to the federal funds rate during the stretch of time between 2000 and 2002. You all know what happened in 2000. The dot-com crash, as it's coined, right? Basically, what Michael Burry is trying to say here, I'm going to try to decipher what he's saying. Number one, he's referring, I believe, to a very famous book that was released right after the 2008 crash called This Time It's Different by Ragoff and Reinhardt. The book basically talks about how before every crash, politicians, analysts, economists, they all think that this time it's going to be different, and yet every time, they experience the same thing. So he's referring to the book with that phrase, but what he's showing is a very interesting chart. And it tells a lot about what he's thinking here. I think it's a very serious warning, and it has merit. I don't know if he's right or wrong, but here's what he's saying. The one thing I can tell you is, obviously, he's comparing this current market to the 2000 market. So he's basically saying, what we have right now, this insanity is basically what happened in 2000. It's the same setup. Now, I don't know if I agree to that or not, but that's what he's saying. He's also saying, and that's very important, that the whole market crash of 2000 actually took about 2 years. Look at the chart. The collapse is going on from 2000 all the way to 2002. So it didn't happen overnight. So there's plenty of time for this to play out. Also, what he's saying is look at the volatility. These 2 years of a crash were plagued with a lot of up and down movement. So there's a lot of crazy rallies in between, but the trend will continue. He's basically saying, beware of these rallies. These are crazy rallies that are basically going on in the middle, but the trend will be the same in 2000, 2002. The other thing he wants you to look at, and I think it's also very interesting, is look, guys, the Fed was reducing the rate, which is true. Look at the chart. The Fed started this 2000 time with 6% interest. And then by the end of this period, the interest rates was about 2%. So the Fed went from 6% to 2% interest, while the S&P 500 dropped from 1,300 to 800 at the same time. So basically, the fact of the matter is the Fed pivot, the reduction in interest rates, is not always a magical cure for a market crash. That's what he's warning about. Very interesting warning. I'm not going to dunk on Michael Burry. I know we can all make the jokes about how he predicted 50 out of the last 2 crashes, but this is a very interesting warning, and I believe it holds a lot of merit, and it's worth listening to. Now, a few things before I let you go. Yesterday, Jerome Powell had a very interesting interview. I'm not going to bore you with it here. I posted a full recap on my second channel. It's not monetized. That's why it's there. I don't want to monetize a public service like, deciphering Jerome Powell. So it's on my second channel. I'm going to put the link below. Go and watch it, about 7 minutes. One more thing, for those of you who are supporters of the channel and you also are part of Stock MVP, we added a new feature called Flash SEC, where you can actually take a look at future dilutions of companies you're looking at, basically before the announcements, to find out how much the company plans to dilute current shareholders in the future. Very interesting tool. If you want to check it out, the link is below, stockmvp.com, and you can actually try it out for 14 days risk-free and get your money back if you're not happy for any reason. One last thing before I let you go. LeBron James yesterday became the highest scoring player in the history of the NBA, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I started off as a huge LeBron hater. After everything that I've seen this season, at his age, 38 years old, basically playing against the refs giving all the calls to the new hot stars the NBA is trying to promote. Him dropping 40 points last night and doing it every night consistently at his age, and his humility, and I actually flipped. I'm no longer a LeBron hater. I still think MJ was the GOAT and is the GOAT, but I think LeBron is now my second favorite player, and I started off as a huge hater. So that says a lot, I guess. Before I let you go, if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot to me. About 30% of you watching are not subscribed. It's a one click and it's free, and it helps my channel a lot. Also, if you don't mind, on your way out, slapping the like button, I'd really appreciate it. As always, huge thanks for staying all the way through. If you are here at the absolute end of the video, comment below that you're a true OG, so I know you stayed all the way through. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.